Welcome to another day of Bhagavad Gita Sadhana. We have a slightly different setup and view today, which has got me in a bit of a twist. And we'll talk about why this morning as we take a break from what's your path to the challenges of staying on the path, which we've looked at before. So the reason I'm in a slightly different setup today is because my Lord and Master, the cat, decided to fall asleep in front of the door where I usually set up and then come out and put all my things. And I decided rather than bother him, I would adapt. And this actually, I realized, went along with the theme I had selected for today. Because in my head, it's like I have the perfect setup and the perfect routine. And the pitfall to the spiritual path we'll discuss today is this idea of perfection, especially because the word siddha is often translated as perfection or perfected being, and it shows up in the Bhagavad Gita as well as other yogic texts. You may not have heard of the word siddha, but maybe the form siddhi, the mystical powers you are supposed to achieve as you progress toward an enlightened self. And it's interesting because there's a bit of a paradox in both the Sanskrit and then we can look at the English. So in Sanskrit, siddha, as I mentioned, is a perfected being, a sage, someone who's really moved along the path. And because of that has gotten these powers, like being able to read the mind or control the senses, things like that. Some even say being able to turn intangible or invisible. But then the word siddhi itself, the power that you get as you go along the path, is actually looked down upon. You are not supposed to use these powers once you get them because they are seen as distractions from continuing. So this actually kind of fits with the English idea, I think, of perfection. Many of us view perfection as a state to be reached. And when we're looking at what path should I follow on the Bhagavad Gita that will help me perfect myself? Oh, and then I'll get to be perfect, and then I won't have any more to do. Life will just be fabulous and swell all the time. It's like thinking about what's the perfect vacation. And then you plan the perfect vacation. You expect it to be like absolute delight every moment. And you know something? Life doesn't work like that, and neither does the spiritual path. In fact, one of the ways we get attached to these powers. So, for example, I've had students I've worked with that we've had these amazing meditative experiences. And then instead of wanting to progress in the meditation and do the deeper stages or whatever, they want to stay right where they are and try to keep having that same experience over and over again, that feeling of calm and peace. And you have to be able to get beyond that. The other challenge is seeing perfection as the end point. You know, I do these practices, I'll become a siddha, I'll become perfect, I'll have all this wonderful knowledge and radiant energy. But actually, if you're focused on that, whatever path you pick in life or from the Gita, you're not going to reach it because there is no perfection in the future. The only perfection is now. And the goal of yoga and other spiritual paths is to help you realize that right now is perfect. It might not fit your definition of perfect, but it is perfect. And actually, pushing yourself to get to perfection can be harmful. I'll give you a demonstration from a physical point of view. All right, so there's a pose called Siddhasana, it's the perfect meditation pose or the perfected beings pose, and you may have seen it. It involves, it's a little different if you're a man or a woman in your embodiment. One heel goes into the perineum, the other set of toes goes up here between the thigh, and then you pull up the bottom toes, and then you sit up straight. I'm not doing a perfect job of it. And in fact, if I were to try to get myself to do a perfect job of it right now, I would hurt myself. And I've seen people do this, like, I can't get my knee down. Come push on my knee. And I know one teacher who actually had both her knees. She had to have knee surgery on both her knees because she let somebody come over and push. That's perfect. She had someone come over and push her knees down because she so wanted to get the pose perfect. And when we look at what we think perfected spiritual beings are like, and we think, oh, if I just jump ahead to the end, so let's see, what do they do? Well, I'll do what they do. I'll abide by these spiritual codes and I'll live this simple lifestyle. But that's not the point. Those things evolve as you progress on the path. Naturally, you don't have to force. If there's a forcing, it's not perfection, it's illusion. And there's a martial arts kind of parable that goes with it. A student went to a martial arts teacher with great skill and said, I want to be a perfect master like you. How long will that take? And the master goes, if you study, work hard, and listen to what I say, let's say 20 years. The student says, no, faster. What if I study twice as hard and train twice as long as all your other students? Then how long? 40 years. No, what if I make martial arts my life and that's all I do to become perfect? Maybe 80 years. And the idea is if you always have one eye on the goal, you'll never be present enough to learn the lessons you need to have in this moment. And one of the biggest ones is you are perfect. You are perfect. And yoga is just to help you realize that it's not a state you reach later that you get to rest in. It's right now. Oh my gosh. Anyhow, today's practice, however it turns out, will be perfect. And it's dedicated to Linda. Happy pre-birthday. Let's be. So as you do this pose, notice, are you focused on perfection or just being in it? Maybe one side focus on, I have to do it perfect. And the other side, I'm just going to be in it and see which one is better. Better. Switch. Excelente. We'll have our 5-minute meditative practice now. I invite you to consider during this time the idea of perfectionism and how your relationship to it affects or plays out in your life. Or if you think of yourself as being perfect, what is that? What is that? What is that? Here we go. Welcome back. I would wish you a perfect day, but I think the better thing to wish for you is to realize how not only is the day already perfect for you, but you are already perfect for the day. Be free in your own perfection. We'll see what happens next time. Until then.